Hey, Phil Cohen here, Cohen on Content. I'm Michael Marcovsky. I told you I was going to bring Michael Marcovsky back because we got to talk about this funding and financing and money stuff. And you are the money guy. By the way, we're in production. I'm in production on Care Media. And we got the green screen here, and I just thought it'd be easier. I don't know why, but it is.
What goes behind us on the green screen?
Probably your bank account. Michael, heard a lot of conversation from you. A lot of discussion out there. I mean, I had a couple guys in. We're talking about it. Industry-wise, I was reading that we're 700 networks. Yeah, I know all about the bodies lying on the side of the roads that didn't make it. And you've talked about what you look for in first stage funding, and I paid attention. Management, have they ever run a business? Have they ever run a successful business? Or your words, did they ever really make a payroll? Their business plan, and I know you got guys, your guys drill down on those business plans. But now we want to talk about that second stage. And I know you invest in advertiser-supported networks,
yes.
Or your clients and you have clients. It's you and your investment club of friends.
The boys and girls.
The boys and girls
Club.
The club. Second stage. Guy shows up and he said, I need second stage funding. He's going to New York maybe for the strategic
Investor conference.
Yeah. What are you looking for?
Well, first of all, they've gone through proof of concept. That's what the kids who work with me say it is. They've been able to line up locations, be they a corporate location like a chain of convenience stores or individual tire shops or dry cleaners. So they've done that. They've proven that. They've gotten hardware, software, they've done installs. Maybe they've actually generated some ad revenue, although that's not necessary. But they're ready to go to the second stage. Well, can they without being distracted? Do they have a true system integrator involved? Because if they're spending their time dealing with individual hardware suppliers, software suppliers, installers, all that stuff, they're not really being able to pay attention to generating revenue.
Let me ask you this, because I was just with Stu, and I was talking to him about when we did our first RFP, which seems like generations ago, we really didn't know what we were looking for. We had been using televisions and DVD players, and part of that TVs and VHS players. And we looked at some AV distributors, and we didn't do well. The second RFP we put out, we had stepped it up a notch into the real, I'll call it the real digital signage world. The guys that run in that business. The third time, which was the third time's the charm, we put out RFP was for, you're the software guy, bring me a hardware guy with you, an installer, a hardware, a panel, whatever. Or if you're a panel guy, bring me the software guy with you so that we would see the team. That's when we found out what an integrator was, and you were right. The integrator had no dog in the fight or no horse in the race. Their words were agnostic.
Right.
He picked the hardware that he felt was the best for the software, and he picked the software that he felt was best for what we do.
And he's your guy.
Yeah.
He has no loyalty to his hardware company, his software company, or a rollouts company or whatever. He's your guy and doing the best job and keeping you and your people from having to deal with the day-to-day so you can do things like pay attention to your content and not only pay attention to generating revenue. That's what a true system integrator is, right?
Okay.
And that's what you did, and the one you used is the one that we prefer because they've done how many installs for you?
Thousands.
Thousands and thousands.
Again, talking to Stu was saying that he thinks the industry is moving toward your software company being the people you rely on to bring in your hardware and to bring in your installation systems. And you're saying, no, that's, I'm confused.
Yeah.
If I'm confused, some of the guys out there that have got a couple hundred systems installed, They're confused.
Well, I'm unconfused because looking for second stage, you're looking for something that's really smooth, that really has the interests of the client company in mind, and is agnostic in terms of hardware, software, and who does the installs and who does the servicing. So management can pay attention to continuing to generate the locations and, more importantly, generate revenue. And oh, by the way, the other thing we look for is the content. On content, that's what we're here for.
Yeah.
Because so many companies make the mistake of that being the last thing they pay attention to, but yet that's the thing that keeps the viewer engaged. And if they're engaged, they're paying attention to the content and they're watching the ads. So what you look for is someone who pays attention to the content, is it engaging, is that engagement proven by third-party research from an Arbitron or a Nielsen? That's what we also look for beside the system integrator, is that are the people going to be watching it? Therefore, do the dogs, pardon the analogy, like the dog food?
Okay.
And if they like the dog food and they pay attention to where they're in the dwell time looking at the content, they'll actually pay attention to the ads, and that research will show phenomenal recall compared to, say, broadcast television.
And that generates the revenues, and that's what you're ultimately looking
And that
for.
being the name of that game.
Yeah. I remember you talking about looking at a company that had revenues. There were decent revenues, but you didn't feel that they were projectable or they were long-term because they weren't based on a real CPM that had a backbone in the recall of the commercial. I remember that conversation.
Yes.
What kind of deals can these guys make? I know, the bigger you are, the stronger you are. Maybe you don't even need any money, but I'm thinking of a few right now that, because I'm on the board of a few different digital signage companies. They're going to look for some more money, which, by the way, I'm going to be talking to them about as soon as we're done with this for a couple of my friends. But what kind of deals can they look to get?
Oh, if they've got the proof of concept, they've launched, they've got the system integration thing down, they've got the content thing down, they've got the research, depending on how much they need, of course. But, their give up would be maybe 20, 25%, maybe 30. It's not the kind of thing that's a venture capital deal where they have to give up 80% and give up total control. If they've proven themselves, that's why it's called second stage. First stage, it is going to be that 80-20 deal or 90-10.
I would never do a deal with you, I'm telling you right now. Okay, here's what's going to happen. Like last time, I'm going to get a bunch of emails. But what we're going to do different is I'm going to get some of the team to take those emails, put them together, and send them over to you. And then you'll get your guys to give me some responses. So next time, it'll be a rant, but I'm going to feed you the answers to those emails from Michael and his group, and maybe some others. I met with some good investment guys, as you know, when I was in Europe, for a couple of the companies that I want to see get launched solidly, and I'm going to talk to those guys too. But anyway,
Okay.
you got questions, send me the email. I'll get it to Michael. We'll get you an answer.
Thank you.
All right, love. Nice seeing you. I'll see you with the next one.